This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. The holidays are over, the decorations are down, and suddenly everything feels a little empty. It's normal to feel the winter blues after the holiday excitement. January, February, and March are by far my least favorite months of the year. It's cold and dark, and I have to get some extra vitamin D on board. I also need to keep my regular scheduled appointments with my therapist. So if you're feeling that post-holiday funk, I definitely suggest you checking out BetterHelp because maybe it's time to talk. You might also be one of those people like me who makes New Year's resolutions and you get super motivated. So maybe you need someone behind you to hold you accountable and come up with a plan to meet your goals. BetterHelp is super convenient, totally online. You have a therapist right at your fingertips whenever you need them. So head over to betterhelp.com/wifeofcrime1 to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/wifeofcrime1 for 10% off your first month.
This podcast is an unscripted, unedited conversation about true crime. We take the cases very seriously, but I don't take myself seriously at all. And neither should you. Welcome to Wife of Crime.
So, Russ, there are stories that I research that really hit me hard. They really stick with me. And that's how this case I'm telling you today is. It's so inspiring. It's so shocking. It's unfreaking believable. But it really happened. This is the amazing survival of Teka Adams. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Wife of Crime, a true crime podcast where I tell my husband Russ true crime cases and he reacts to them.
What's up? It's your boy Russ, a.k.a. Russ the Profiler, a.k.a. Send me money. My enemies are looking for me.
Oh, God.
They're calling me the Profiler Swindler.
Oh, Jesus. Well, that was actually funny. I didn't expect you to say that. We have our new mics. So just so everyone knows, I'm super excited because we purchased the fancy mics that all these fancy big time podcasts use. And so hopefully it makes our sound better for you guys. I'm really excited.
What's crazy is I probably won't be able to tell the difference.
You won't.
It's dope. They look cool. They're like on cool stands and stuff.
Yeah, they do look cool. We feel like real professionals, even though we're still at our kitchen table.
For now.
For now. Yep, that's true.
So I have a corn of the week for the first time in a long time.
Ooh, okay.
So it says, Tennessee woman had sex with 9 high school students in exchange for vape pens.
Oh my God.
So this happened in Tennessee. She was 38 and she got charged with 18 counts of statutory rape. And, you know, that saying is kind of true when they're like, do you even vape, bruh?
Oh my God. But I feel like that's not really why she was doing that.
Well, I would read the whole article, but the headline was good enough for me. And the kids were between the ages of 14 and 17. 14?
Yeah. And she was 38? Oh my God. That's crazy. What a scumbag. Ew, she's definitely a corn. She's beyond a corn. She's a scumbag.
Yeah, I guess. But, you know, sometimes you really have dedications to your hobbies. And, like, if you can't get your vape, what are you going to do?
Oh, my God. I read that. Actually, I did come across, I think it was, like, the New York Post posted it. Because I came across it on Instagram. And I, like, face palmed as soon as I read that. That was so stupid. So, you have the review of the week, Russell?
Yeah, hold on. I'm looking for it on my phone. I was trying to get it. I screenshotted it. But sometimes... All right, I got it.
Okay.
So... This one, I'm not sure how I feel about the title of it. It's from Mary001. It says, #vote for Jess.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's all right. A funny way of talking about some really sad stuff. I started listening to these two because of Military Murder Podcast recommended it. Jess is a super smart girl who tells her husband crime stories and he gives his input on it. He's kind of dumb to common sense. Doesn't know much general knowledge, but after a while he catches on. For military murder people, he's like an idiot airman you have to include in everything that never shuts the F up. But they are needed for the purpose of the job. So, if he wasn't there, it wouldn't be as good. Vote for Jess.
Oh, well, you're not that bad.
Oh, and it was 4 stars. I didn't say.
Oh.
You're cool, Mary.
Yeah.
Stick around. One day we'll get another star out of you.
Maybe you're like mold. Maybe you've grown on her.
Well, without me, you'd be here talking to yourself.
I would be. I'd be talking to myself. I mean, you're not that bad, Russell. You're smart. You have good input and good gut feelings about things.
Well, just goofing around is fun. I can't take myself seriously all the time and just spit facts. Sometimes you got to make shit up.
It's true. You can't take yourself too seriously. I tend to take myself very seriously, and I can be a little too serious sometimes. So I need you in my life to kind of take some of the seriousness away.
Yeah, in the words of South Park, you are super serial.
True. Well, our patrons actually are the ones that voted for the subject of this week's episode, because I put polls up on Patreon, and sometimes I do it like occasionally. It's not on a schedule or anything. And I'll put up different categories of types of cases for them to pick. So they picked this category, which is a Not Me, Not Today, my personal favorite. And we have a bunch of new Patreons. I pulled a Russ. We have a bunch of new patrons. So go ahead and do the shout outs, Russ.
So this week's patrons are Andrea, Jennifer, Shelby, Josie, Jessica, Katie, Ariel, Alexa, Emily, Courtney, Abigail, Nicole, Kendall, Mag, and Taylor. So, cheers to all you. Much appreciate support.
Yes, cheers to you guys. Thank you so much for joining the crime family. We have a bunch of bonus content over there. We do a monthly True Crime and Chill episode. We have ad-free episodes. So if you're interested in more Wife of Crime content, go to patreon.com/wifeofcrime and check it out. All right, so like I said, the patrons voted for this one. We did a poll, and they picked a Not Me, Not Today. Overwhelmingly, actually. A lot of people voted for a Not Me, Not Today episode.
Those are my favorite. What were the other choices? What did you have them choose?
They were choosing between Not Me, Not Today, a serial killer, and a mafia crime, like mafia crime case. And they picked this one. There were a lot of votes for the other 2 categories, but this one won by far.
Yeah, these are my favorite, hands down.
Yeah.
If we could start over, I would probably just do a whole podcast on Not Me, Not Today's.
Really? I wouldn't do I would do a separate podcast from this one, but I would still do different types of crimes. But I'm more of the true crime person. So.
Well, Not Me, Not Today's have revenge. Sometimes they get the people that tried to kill them locked up. Sometimes they kill them.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a huge revenge guy. Like, I love the movie Taken.
Yeah, you do. You love the movie Taken.
Yeah, when Liam Neeson went in the kitchen and the guy said something. He said, "Can you say that again?" And then he said like whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And then I thought Liam Neeson was going to leave and come back and get the guy. But he just told the guy, "I told you I'd find you." And he chopped everyone in the neck.
Everyone. He did do karate chops.
Yeah, it's like Wu-Tang. Better protect your neck when Liam Neeson's around.
It's true. So I've been holding on to this gem of a survival story for a while now. It's actually been suggested a few times by a couple listeners, but just like the Alison Botha story, Teka Adams' story is not widely covered by a lot of true crime pods. Like, I feel like there are some stories, survival stories and true crime survivors that are covered a lot, like Mary Vincent and a couple other ones that are in like tons of true crime podcasts. But Teka Adams' story is not easy to find in the podcast world. There are a bunch of shows, like I Survived did her episode, and so did the show on ID channel, I can't remember, Live to Tell. They did her story as well. So that's where I got a lot of my information. I listened to the couple podcasts that are on it, and I watched her story on TV, and she tells her story on these shows, and listening to her tell it is just like I hope I can do it justice, because watching her tell it is just remarkable.
When these people go on these shows and tell these stories of how they survived and stuff, I always hope they like pay them or something. 'Cause these shows make money off of them.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they get paid. I hope so too. Especially her. Oh my God, this story is shocking. So I really feel like mixing these stories of survival in our rotation is essential. Especially in times like these. Like over the past few years, our world has become so unpredictable. Depression is at an all-time high. I myself have experienced repercussions from the pandemic that I mentioned in previous episodes, and so has so many people around the world. And a lot of us just need stories that make us feel in awe of what the human body can actually endure. So I'm going to totally nerd out for a second. Our bodies are so freaking amazing, Russ. Like, we are so incredibly fragile, but so incredibly resilient at the same time.
Yeah, I could do a lot of push-ups.
Well, no, but you are a prime example. So, by the way, everyone, huge coincidence. Russ was actually a trauma in my ER years ago when he was 25. And I wasn't even a nurse yet.
Bro, that was like 4 years ago.
No, you wish. But I wasn't even a nurse yet. We didn't even know each other. I didn't even work there. But he was a trauma in my ER because he got into a horrible accident and he needed the jaws of life to get him out of his car.
That's true. And that's when I cracked my head and I broke a couple bones in my back. And
yeah.
I tore my knee up.
You sustained a TBI, a traumatic brain injury. You needed reconstruction of your skull. He tore his ACL. But shockingly, Russ, you had no life-threatening injuries. Some people would have died on impact, but your body fought for you. Like, all the mechanisms in your body that are put there to protect us, like adrenaline and shock, they stepped up to the plate for you and they protected you from all that pain.
Yeah, I was just embarrassed. I was like, man, I crashed my car. This is embarrassing.
But doesn't that make you feel so thankful for your body? And now you're here. You're here to sit here across from me at a table to talk shit on a microphone and put this podcast out to the world. And if your body didn't protect you, you wouldn't be here right now to do this. And that's so amazing.
Yeah, life is very fragile, man. You gotta, like I always say, give your people and family the roses while they can still smell them.
It's so true.
I always see all these posts about when people die and stuff about, oh, I miss them. But, call someone up right now and tell them you miss them.
Yeah, tell them you love them.
Say you're really annoying, but I love you and I miss you.
It's so true. I'm realizing for 2022 how much I need to take care of and love my body more. I'm on this Stay Fit, Stay Alive journey right now. I'm 6 weeks in. I have a bunch of listeners with me. You guys, shout out to you guys who are still with me on this. And I've really tried to transform my thinking about it because I'm not doing it for looks or strictly to lose weight. I want to do this to thank my body for being good to me and working well for me. So stories like Teka Adams, they hit me really hard because Teka's story of survival is one of super strong will, is one of her body not giving up on her, and love for herself and love for her daughter. This fight that she fought is truly unbelievable, and I don't think you're ready for this story. Are you ready?
I don't think I'm ready.
I think you're ready.
So I guess I'll leave. You want to do this one by yourself?
So Teka Adams.
I have to say yes.
Oh, okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
Yes. So Teka Adams was a young woman from Washington, D.C. She had a bit of a rough life. She says when she was a preteen and a teenager, she did not get along with her family, and she admitted that she was a bit of a wild child. Her relationship with her father was especially strained. So when Teka was 16, she decided to run away. She ended up living on the streets.
Like my mom.
Yeah.
She ran when she was 15.
Yeah, just like your mom.
And then came back pregnant, 18, with me back to the Bronx.
Yeah. So
I'm a runaway baby.
You are, yeah. So she ended up living on the streets and in and out of shelters for 10 years. Teka ended up in a long-term facility for homeless people in D.C. It's kind of similar to what government housing is here in New York. When Teka was 27, she ended up meeting a man named PJ. So the two of them lived in this long-term homeless shelter. And when they met, it was like they met their person. The love they had for each other motivated them to do better. And it reminded me of the song, You Make Me Better. What's the song?
With Neo and Fabulous.
With Neo and Fabulous, exactly.
Yo, listen to that. It's a good song.
It is a good song. So that's how their love was. They were motivators. So when they met, they pushed each other to get better jobs. PJ encouraged Teka to go back to school to get an education. And eventually they were both working full time and saving everything they could towards an apartment together.
What year was this?
2009.
Oh, this was recent.
Yes.
Well, it's not that recent. I'm old. I always think like anything in 2000s is recent.
Yeah, it's 2009. So when Teka was 28, she found out she was pregnant. And this motivated them even more because they now had a baby on the way. And they were like, you know what? Let's buy a house. Let's invest in real estate. Let's not just aim for an apartment. Let's really try to get a life established. So they got married and they started saving everything they had towards putting a down payment on a house.
Hopefully they were building their credit too. Don't forget that, folks. You need the credit. You can't just have the down payment. I know. I have good credit now, though.
Yeah.
But I had to learn.
So when Teka was 7 months pregnant, she got a phone call from a woman named Stephanie Mills. Stephanie told Teka she was a social worker who works for the city of D.C., and she works in a program for expecting mothers in poverty. And she wanted to help Teka take advantage of the resources DC had to offer. She told Teka she could help her with baby clothes, food, diapers, anything she needed. And this gave Teka so much relief. Her and PJ were working so hard to save up for this down payment so they could invest in a home. And she was so happy that Stephanie was offering her all this stuff.
That's like WIC, you know, like I don't know if that's just a New York thing or other states.
No, they have it everywhere. It's a federal program.
Yeah, but they give you a
formula,
juice. You know, you could get things. The juicy juice is mad good that they give you from there. It's like comes in the metal can. That juice is good as hell.
Well, this lady said that she was going to not give her just food. She was going to give her clothes, baby clothes, all kinds of different resources.
And juicy juice.
And juicy juice. So Stephanie called Teka almost every single day for about a month, just checking in to see how her and the baby were doing. She would give her information, resources about prenatal care. She also told Teka, in a couple weeks, I can come pick you up from the shelter and I'll take you to our facility and you can pick out anything you want for the baby.
How did this social worker find Teka?
She said she found her through the government. She was a social worker who found her through the shelter, like through the government program for expecting mothers.
All right. Something's a little fishy here.
I'm not saying a word. Let me just keep going.
Profiling.
So she says you can pick out anything you want. And since Teka was about 8 months pregnant and only a few weeks from giving birth, she was so incredibly appreciative and excited. PJ, on the other hand, was very apprehensive.
Yeah.
And he reminds me a lot of how you would be in this situation. This is totally you. Because he goes, nah. Something's weird about this. This lady just popped up out of nowhere. She's calling you every single day. Nobody just gives you all this stuff for free. What's the catch?
He probably said, this is what I'm thinking. I'd be like, ain't nothing for nothing.
Exactly. And he's like, what's the catch? What's going on here? He told her, I don't trust this. I have a bad feeling about it. And of course, Teka would be like me. And she was like, you need to relax. Not everyone is a bad person. She's a social worker. She works for the city. This is her job as a social worker to help people in need. That's what social workers do.
No, what you would have said, no, Russ, she's really just trying to help. She's a good person. And it sounds like she might be trying to steal a baby.
Well, a couple weeks go by. And Stephanie calls Teka and asks if she'd like to go to the facility to pick up all the baby supplies. And Teka gets so excited. And she's like, yes, I can't wait. She's literally due in like a week at this point. So she is really excited to get all this stuff. Stephanie comes and picks Teka up from the shelter. As they're driving, Stephanie's car starts to make really weird noises. And she says, oh, damn it. This stupid car is acting up again. Do you mind if we just stop by my apartment really quick? I have a friend that can come by, look at my car. It'll probably take about an hour, and then we'll just head over to the facility after that. But I don't want to drive over to the facility and then my car break down. Yeah. I'd rather just stop at my apartment. And Teka was like, all right, no problem. You know, she in her head, she's like, you know, she's taking me to get all this free stuff. What am I supposed to say? No. So I'll just go with her. It's only going to be out of my way a little bit. No big deal.
And in the words of social media, red flags.
Well, exactly. And Teka, though, she thought that Stephanie was so nice. And she was like, this is the least I could do. And she really thought that Stephanie was a great person. She wasn't suspicious at all at this point. So the two ladies go to Stephanie's apartment. They're sitting on Stephanie's couch watching TV. And PJ calls Teka and asks, what's going on? Like, you were only supposed to be gone for like an hour. Where are you at? And Teka says, you know, her car's acting up. I'm just at her house right now. Everything's fine. And PJ's like, no, this is not cool. You need to come back here. But he doesn't have a car, so he can't come pick her up. And she's like, no, it's fine. I just want to go get the stuff. Everything's fine. Don't worry about it. And she gets off the phone with him. So Stephanie puts in a bootleg DVD of the movie Precious, which, like, super fucked up movie, by the way.
I never watched that. So everybody said how like messed up it was. And I like being happy.
It is not a happy movie. It is very sad, super fucked up. Monique played that role insanely good because I hated her character so much, and you just kind of wish that she would die the entire movie. But, you know, Teka in an interview was like, I don't even know why she put this movie on. Like, it was a bootleg copy and we're just sitting there. She was like, I started to feel a little uncomfortable, but mainly because I just hate this movie and I don't want to sit here and watch it with this lady.
Yeah, maybe she can like get any cartoons or something, bro.
So after about 30 minutes, Stephanie offers Teka something to drink. And at this point, she's pretty tired because remember, she's about a week away from giving birth. So she's just like huge. You know, her stomach is really big. Her feet are swollen. She's tired. And she's like, yeah, sure. I'll take some water. No problem.
Can't believe people get pregnant on purpose so they feel like that. That's crazy. Like, why you want to feel like that?
Shut up.
And then this thing's going to come out and just make nonstop noise and want to get fed like 6 times a night. It's crazy.
So she gets up to go to the kitchen and get Teka something to drink. And then all of a sudden, Teka says a blanket was thrown over her head and she was being beat in the head with a metal object. She said that she was hit at least 10 times. Her belly is huge, like I said, and her legs are swollen. So she had a really hard time just like maneuvering in general. So her getting beat in the head and then trying to get up off the couch, you can only imagine she's not like as agile as she normally is.
I got to know the motive here, man.
So she manages finally to jump up and she pulls the blanket off of her head and there's blood gushing out of her head because we know that heads tend to bleed a lot, right? Once you get hit in the head.
We don't know that as a group.
Oh, okay.
I'm speaking for us regular people.
Well, heads bleed a lot. So when you get cut in the head or you hit your head, they gush blood. And there's blood all over her face at this point. And she's just kind of in shock because she didn't expect this at all. So now Teka makes a run for the door. She runs as fast as she can towards the door down the hallway.
Big belly, waddling to the door.
Exactly. Like, it's not easy for her to move. So Stephanie jumps on her back and tackles her to the ground. And they're now grappling on the floor. Teka is swinging, kicking, biting, doing everything she can to get this lady off of her. She has blood in her eyes, and Stephanie manages to get on top of her. And then she grabs a fireplace poker and starts beating her on the head and face even more.
Is this PJ's ex-girlfriend or something? Like,
no.
What does she have against her?
So Teka says she hit her in the head at least 40 times. Teka is losing tons of blood at this point, and she's going in and out of consciousness.
Damn, you always got to carry like a damn pocket knife or a pepper spray.
She had no idea this was going to happen.
No, I have no idea things are going to happen, but I always have a little something up my sleeve.
I know.
And of course, I'm not victim blaming you idiots who like to give 1 stars, but just be prepared.
Yeah, but
because it's not your fault.
This is so not expected at all. She thought this lady was helping her out, and she said the lady was so nice. And this woman, did a long con on her because she was calling her for a month every day, checking on her, giving her resources, phone numbers, doctors to see for prenatal care. I mean, she really played her.
For the record, no one wants to help you. No one cares about you.
So Teka then gets a second wind, and she manages to roll Stephanie onto the floor and get on top of her.
Put that belly, hold it down with the belly.
Now she puts her hands around Stephanie's neck, and she squeezes as tight as she can. But before Stephanie can pass out, Teka passes out because she's forcing so much, squeezing her. But she's lost so much blood at this point that she just collapses. You guys already know because we have been talking about them for a while now. Via Hemp is by far one of our favorite sponsors we've ever had, okay? We use their products all the time. Maybe you're a little like me. You're a little anxious. You have a hard time settling down. You're kind of wound up a lot. If that's you, Via Hemp products are for you. Check out their website. You will find something that speaks to you. Maybe you're like Russ. You have a hard time sleeping because you have bad nerve pain or chronic pain. Then Via Hemp is for you because their gummies will help you get some quality sleep. Maybe you're looking to have a really good time. Maybe you just really like edibles. You want to laugh. You want to get the munchies. You want to watch a movie and have a really strong belly laugh. Then Via Hemp products are for you, okay? They're literally for everybody. So head over to viahemp.com, promo code wifeofcrime1 to get 15% off your first order. That's VIIAHEMP.com. Wife of Crime #1 for 15% off your first order. Last year, Save More Money was the most popular New Year's resolution in America. Clearly, a lot of us feel like our money is slipping through our fingers. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm not the best saver, and I don't know much about investing until I started saving and investing with Acorns. Turns out you don't have to be an expert at all because Acorns will recommend a diversified portfolio that fits you and your money goals. And I always thought that when people say, ooh, I invest in stocks, that they had a ton of money or something. Well, you don't need to be rich. Acorns lets you invest with the spare money you've got right now. You can literally start with $5. And you know you guys are spending that at Starbucks on these fancy lattes. So skip the coffee and invest with Acorns. You don't even need a ton of time. Like you can just sign up and start investing within 5 minutes. Head over to acorns.com/wifeofcrime or download the Acorns app to start saving and investing for your future today. That's acorns.com/wifeofcrime. Teka says she was going in and out of consciousness, and after a few minutes, she feels Stephanie grab her ankles and drag her into the kitchen.
What the hell is going on here?
You'll find out later.
All right, that's good.
So Teka's laying weak on the kitchen floor, completely unable to move because she's so tired and weak. And Stephanie then grabs a box cutter and slices in to Teka's side. And now she's bleeding out of her side as well as her head. She screams in pain, and then Teka passes out again. She says she wakes up a few minutes later and she sees Stephanie sitting next to her, rocking back and forth on the floor, praying to God for forgiveness.
This bitch is crazy.
She is. She then grabs a bunch of towels and starts cleaning up all the blood. And she says to Teka, "Can you get up?" And Teka says, "No, I don't think I can. I'm so weak." And she starts going like in and out of consciousness again. So Stephanie picks her up and carries her into the bedroom and puts her on her bed.
And she's probably heavy, so she's strong.
So, well, Teka's also really little. She's like a tiny little lady. So even though she's pregnant, she is really little. She was like 5 foot even.
So she's probably still less than 200 pounds.
Yeah, she's really small anyway.
That's a lot of weight to carry still.
So Stephanie grabs Teka's cell phone because PJ is now calling her back to back. She grabs the cell phone and smashes it to pieces on the floor. After about an hour, Teka wakes up again and she sees Stephanie sitting on the floor next to the bed. And she tells her, people are going to start looking for me. My husband knows I'm with you. He's going to call the police and they're all going to try to find me. How about you just let me go? I'll lie. I'll say a stranger attacked me. I won't tell anyone it was you. I promise. Just let me go. Stephanie stands up and she starts pacing back and forth. She starts mumbling to herself. And Teka just keeps watching her. She has her eye on her constantly, watching every move because she doesn't know what to expect next.
So now Teka probably can't really walk.
No. She has her head hit 50 times, blood everywhere, and she has her side sliced open, blood gushing out of there. Her blood pressure is probably tanked.
So your body, it's not healing. Is she clotting at that point?
She is, but once you've lost all that blood, your blood pressure is really low.
Does your body make, how long does it take your body to make new blood?
Your body makes new blood constantly, but it can't always keep up. The amount you lose can't keep up with the amount it's making.
Especially if she keeps cutting her and stuff.
Exactly. So Teka falls asleep again because she's just in and out. She wakes up and she realizes it's probably been a long time. She was asleep for a while. She thinks it might even be the next day or even the day after that.
Wow.
Her wrists and ankles are now tied. Her blood pressure is so low at this point that she's so weak she can't barely even lift her head. But she starts to look around the room with her eyes and she doesn't see Stephanie or hear her anywhere. She manages to bite through the fabric on her wrist and unties her wrists and ankles. So she gets out. But as soon as she's free and tries to sit up, she's so incredibly dizzy. The room is just spinning and spinning in circles. She tries to get all the way up and stand up, but she falls back to the ground. Suddenly, Stephanie walks in the room carrying towels, a box cutter, a knife, tape, scissors, and a wet rag. Teka is terrified. She's like, what the fuck is going on? What is this lady going to do to me?
I want to know what the fuck is going on. I feel like she's going to try to cut the baby out.
So
on
she
some
bends,
crazy, Hills Have Eyes type shit.
Well, Stephanie bends down and she tries to shove the wet rag in Teka's mouth. Teka's fighting. She won't open her mouth. She's trying to bite her fingers. She's trying as hard as she can to fight, kick, scream. But a man walks in the room and he gets on top of her and holds her down so that Stephanie can shove the rag in her mouth and then she wraps duct tape around her head.
What the fuck?
She then ties Teka's wrists and ankles to the bed. She leaned into Teka and said, "This is going to hurt, so just bite the rag when the pain is really bad." Stephanie then grabs a knife off the floor and begins cutting open Teka's belly.
Knew it. I fucking knew it.
Teka said the pain was so unimaginable, like nothing she'd ever felt before. She was slowly cutting too, slowly sawing through her abdominal wall muscles. She made the cut wider and wider, so wide that she could fit her hand inside of her belly. She puts her hand in there, almost elbow deep, and she's moving around in her stomach, looking for the baby. She realizes that this woman is trying to take her baby out of her as she's laying here alive. I'm about to cry.
Wow.
I'm literally about to cry. So she looks at Teka and she says, "I already cut open the water sack. So now I'm going to reach in and grab the baby. Do you want me to do it now or do you need a break?
What?
I'll let you sleep for a little bit and I'll come back and take it." So Teka just keeps crying, obviously, and she's begging to stop, begging through the, she has a rag in her mouth. She can't talk, but she's just crying and begging. So Stephanie pulls her hand out of her stomach and her intestines fall out. This is insane, right?
For the people that can't see, I'm just shaking my head.
So Teka passes out again. And an entire night goes by because she wakes up to a tiny bit of sunlight shining through a crack in the window curtain. And she immediately realizes she's still in this house. This wasn't a nightmare. She's still here. She's still tied down. But suddenly she feels something in her belly and she realizes her baby is still alive and moving inside of her.
Wow.
So she starts to look around and she sees Stephanie lying on the floor, and she realizes she didn't cut open the water sack and take my baby. What actually happened, she doesn't know this, but what they find out later in the hospital is she cut open her bladder thinking it was this water sack for the baby. So
she was touching piss.
Well, yeah, but she was touching everything in there, but she cut her bladder open, and when she did, it probably exploded with a fluid, and she thought it was the water sack that the baby's in.
Wow.
So the baby's still alive in her. And now this is literally all the motivation that this woman needed. She had this burst of energy and she was like, no, not me, not today, not this. I'm getting my baby out of here. This is it. I have chills. So she looked around the room. She saw Stephanie actually laying in a fetal position in the doorway.
Because she's crazy.
Asleep. Well, she was asleep in the doorway. And I guess through all the movement and fighting, the fabric holding her wrists had loosened. So she was able to get her wrists free. She then somehow found the strength to quietly sit up without making any noise, despite the excruciating pain that she had and her intestines hanging out of her body. She sat up, she got her ankles free. And in this moment, she knew this was her only chance to try to escape. So she started praying to God. She was like, God, you got to give me the strength to stand up. If I can stand up, I can get out of here. Just give me the strength to stand up, because she hasn't been able to even sit up until this point.
I'm very intrigued but slightly uncomfortable with this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell is going on? But I have to know. It's so weird.
You'll find out. It's pathetic. So she told God, if you can just give me the strength to stand up, I'm getting out of here. And so she does. She finally stands up for the first time in 4 days. She's been there for 4 days.
I wonder if they gave her food.
No, they didn't give her food.
Well, I thought maybe they would try to keep her alive and okay, because they want her baby. Give her a little food and drinks and stuff.
Well, I don't know. Not according to her interview. When I saw her talk about this, she didn't talk about that.
I believe her.
So her eyes lock on Stephanie, and she takes one tiptoe step over towards her. And then she takes one step over her, and she's now straddling Stephanie, who's laying on the floor asleep.
With a cut open stomach.
With
and
a cut open
head all
stomach.
Busted up.
And blood starts to drip out of her belly onto the blanket that Stephanie is covered up with. And she's so scared that it's going to wake her up. But it doesn't. She doesn't wake up. So she slowly steps over Stephanie and starts to walk down the hallway.
I wanted her to stab her in the damn head.
Nah, she's just got to get out of here at this point. As she's walking down the hallway really slowly, she starts to feel all this warm wetness touching her thighs and realizes that all the intestines are out of her body. So she grabs them and holds them, cradles her belly, just like Alice in Bath.
Out of the body, or they're like she could see them, like
they're hanging out. Yeah.
Can you push them in?
You can hold them up to you, and that's what she did.
Oh, dip.
Just like Alice in Bath. The same thing happened to her. So she's holding her belly and she's tiptoeing towards the front door. And then she sees the man who held her down sleeping on the couch. So now she has to be so quiet. She says in an interview she felt like a mouse in a house full of angry cats. Like she's just tiptoeing as softly as she can, but she's in excruciating pain. Meanwhile, her face is still wrapped in duct tape too, okay? So she gets to the door and there's 3 locks. And so she slowly does the chain and then slowly does the deadbolt and then slowly does the handle lock, opens the door and gets out.
That would be a good time if we did sound effects.
Yeah, it would be. So she gets out the door and it closes behind her and the sun burns her eyes at first, but as soon as they adjust, she just starts to like run.
What? She could run?
I mean, it's probably, I don't know, run, but she's walking as fast as she can and she's banging on doors. Help me, help me, help me. She's going to all these different apartment doors, begging for help, help, help. No one answers the doors. No one comes out.
And she looks scary if someone's banging on you.
It doesn't matter. As a pregnant woman who's bloody, you come out and help them. Yes, you do. Otherwise, it's. I can't even believe you're saying right now. We won't address that.
No, we're going to address this. We're not going to let this pass by. Now, the reason is because if I see someone knock on my door, pregnant or not, bleeding, injured, what I'm thinking is whoever's chasing you is right behind you. And if I let you in, look what they did to you. They're going to kill us both.
No, but you're an adult man, and she's a tiny little pregnant woman.
I can call the police for you.
Exactly.
But I don't know if I'm not the only one. Everyone wants to say, oh, I'm the good person. But if someone's bloody at your door, banging on the door, you just don't open your damn door. You don't know what the hell's going on.
I'm not going to lie. I am shocked that you would even say that. And it really makes me angry.
I'm not opening the door for anyone.
A pregnant lady who's bleeding and screaming help? You wouldn't open the door?
Yeah, because I'm not opening the door for anyone bloody at all. You're not coming in my house because there's a killer chasing you.
You're bad.
No, because all that's going to happen is you're going to be dead. The killer's going to kill you and the other person, because what are you going to do to defend yourself?
It's like the Kitty Genovese. Have you ever heard that case? The Kitty Genovese case? The one in New York? You're such a New Yorker. You're like exactly like that case. Because in that case...
They mind their business?
She was being stabbed to death in the courtyard of her apartment building. Stabbed. She was screaming. People heard her. They looked out the window. No one called the cops. The guy left. She laid there bleeding. He then came back a half hour later and stabbed her more, and she's crying and screaming, and no one called the cops. It's called the bystander effect. It's actually something people study in sociology and psychology. The people who refuse to get involved to the point where other people will die right in front of them. And that is really sad.
I would never let anyone in my house. If I saw something going on outside...
Would you call the cops?
I'd say, you know what I would say?
Don't be funny. Would you call...
I'm not being funny. A lot of times, I'm like, hey, Jess... some crazy shit going on outside. Take a look. Maybe you can call the cops or something.
If you were here alone, would you call the cops?
I would call the cops, but you can't go out and intervene because the person out there obviously has no regard for human life, and they will stab the shit out of you too. And that'll just be two dead people with a bunch of people in the building that ain't calling the cops for two more extra dead people outside. So it doesn't matter. It's not smart. You may be letting the killer in. And now you're letting in the person that possibly was the starter of all this.
Okay.
You don't know who's knocking on your door. No one's coming in this motherfucking house.
I understand that point, and I get that.
I don't even like anyone coming over.
If you're not opening the door, at least tell me you will call the police if you see that.
Yeah, I could call the police.
Don't say it like that. Say, yes, I will call the police.
I'd have to be in the situation, but I probably would.
You better.
You know what happens in New York really a lot? People see shit going on, and they don't call the police because they think, them other people probably calling.
That's what the bystander effect is. The actual bystander effect is people who think other people will intervene, so they don't intervene or call cops or get, whatever. That's what happened to Kitty Genovese.
Well, if you open the door for someone bloody at your door, you're an idiot. You don't know what the backstory is. You don't know what people would say to save their lives, even if they're a terrible person coming in to kill you.
That's fine, but I wouldn't open the door, I guess.
Now
that's a good
you just
point.
changed your story because I fixed it.
Well, I probably would have opened the door, to be honest, but that's a good point about the killer thing. I didn't think about that.
And then the husband and...
You mean the kid? He was a boy.
The big boy
son
would have came in, and her would have came in, and they're like, oh, let me in, that's my friend. And you're like, oh, your friends are here. You would open the door, miss, I open a door. And you know what would have happened? You would have been dead. She would have been dead. The baby would have been dead. And their ass would have been, well, there was DNA. They probably would have got them. But you just would have been a dead dumbass.
Well, I understand that point, but I would really hope that you'd call the police.
I rest my case. I win.
You don't win at all. You don't win.
Everyone knows I win.
I see that part of your side. You and I are so, so different, man. Okay. Anyways. So she's banging on these doors. No one comes out. And then she hears Stephanie's voice. And she's talking to the guy who was in the house. And she's saying, we have to find her. We have to find her. So Teka runs up to the second floor because they were on the first floor of the apartment building. She runs up to the second floor and she starts banging on doors. Help me, help me, help me. No one's coming out. So Stephanie catches up to her and grabs her under her armpits and tries to drag her back to the apartment. But Teka is fighting, screaming, biting, doing everything she can to not let this lady take her back there. And all of a sudden, a man runs downstairs because he heard the commotion. He runs down from the 3rd floor. And he said, "Hey, what's going on? What's going on here?" Because he sees the 2 women.
Yeah.
So the 2 women are both screaming at the same time. And Teka says, "They're trying to kill me. They're trying to take my baby and kill me." And Stephanie says, "She just had a miscarriage and now she's delusional. She had a miscarriage." But Teka then lifts her shirt and shows the man her belly and all her intestines hanging out. And the guy gets super freaked out. And he's like, "Nah, I don't know what's going on here, but I'm calling the cops." So he runs back to his apartment, grabs his cell phone, and calls the cops. And Stephanie leaves Teka laying on the ground and runs away. She gets in her car and leaves.
Wow.
EMS shows up. And as they're getting Teka on the stretcher, she passes out again. And she's rushed to the hospital. Teka wakes up, opens her eyes, and she sees her husband, PJ, standing over her bed. He's holding her hand, and she says to him, "Is the baby okay?" And the nurse in the room says, "You gave birth to a beautiful 8-pound, 2-ounce baby girl."
Wow, the baby made it.
The baby made it. So the baby didn't get hurt at all.
Tell me they named the baby Miracle.
They did.
Oh, Jesus
How did you know
Christ.
that? They literally named her Miracle.
How did I get that?
I can't believe you didn't. You saw that?
No. But
Yeah.
everyone wants to name their baby Miracle if something's going on in a pregnancy.
They named her Miracle.
Now, this one is a miracle.
This one is a miracle.
But there's a lot of slight, like, what they could call the other babies, like, shit happened, but you aight.
I can't believe you guessed that.
I'm
Yeah.
a profile. I told
They
you.
really named her Miracle. Really.
I know. Well, now I know.
Well, this actually is a miracle, what I'm about to tell you. So the doctors told Teka and PJ that the baby had actually balled itself up into a tiny little ball up in the top of her belly, almost near her rib cage, like to protect itself.
The baby was like, what the hell's going on out there? I'm going to go upstairs to the top floor.
Yeah, like so when babies are about to come out, they slowly go down towards your pelvic area because they're about to come out. That's just naturally what happens. They flip upside down in most cases, and their head is lower, and the babies just drop down to a lower position because they know that they're about to come out. Well, this baby, she balled herself up really tiny and went all the way to the top of the belly to protect herself.
Wow.
So that's why she was so hard to get to. That's why when Stephanie put her hand in there, she couldn't find her. That's why the knife or nothing got to her, because she was all the way up in the top of the belly.
I thought she cut the bladder and not the belly.
She did. She cut the bladder.
So the bladder leads to where the baby is?
No, I'm not going through anatomy with you, but no. She just thought that because fluid came out, so she thought it was the sack that the baby was in.
Wait, but she did get her hand in her stomach?
Yeah, she put her hand in there.
Oh, shit.
Looking for the baby, remember? And when she pulled it out, the intestines came out.
Baby went to the top floor of the condo and was like, I'm out. There's too much
the baby
stuff
was
going on down there.
Exactly. So Stephanie Mills' real name is Veronica Daramis. She turned herself in later that day because she knew they were going to find her.
I can't believe she turned herself in.
Well, she had her apartment, her car, like they had where she lived. So she had to turn herself in. They were going to find her. So they couldn't charge her. Get this. They couldn't charge her with attempted murder because the prosecution couldn't prove without a reasonable doubt that she had intent to kill. They could only prove that she was trying to take the baby.
Fair point.
So
well played, prosecutor.
So the prosecutor was scared because they were like, oh, if I try to say she attempted to kill her and then they prove that there's reasonable doubt in that, then they could give her a not guilty verdict and then she'd get off. So he was like, we have to just charge her with assault.
Assault? No.
Assault.
But like, they gotta be...
Well,
like assault is punching someone in the face.
No, but this is like felony assault. Like she got the worst charge of assault that you can get. She was sentenced to 25 years, which is the maximum sentence for assault.
Oh, that's like the same as murder.
But so she got charged for 25 years, which I think is not a strong enough sentence in my opinion. So Veronica, aka Stephanie's son, was not charged. Stephanie's son was the man that held Teka down. He wasn't charged at all.
Wait, Stephanie's son was the man's name? You said Stephanie's son was the man.
That held her down.
Yes, that's the man's name that held her down, Stephanie's son.
Wait, yeah, it's not his name. That's Stephanie's son. Stephanie's son.
Oh, I thought that was his name. You know how like son is a last name?
No,
I thought they might have been Asian. I did. When you said Stephanie, he was Stephanie's son.
Stephanie's son was the man that held
Now I got
Teka down when she was getting her wrists tied down.
Yeah.
He wasn't charged at all.
How?
Because he had special needs. He has special needs. And he had no capacity or understanding of what was going on. He was literally just doing what his mother told him to do. So Teka showed up to the trial with her baby in the courtroom, and she dressed her in all pink. And she said she brought the baby there to rub it in Veronica's face and say, look what you didn't get. Look what we survived. You dumb bitch. So this whole thing brought Teka and her family back together. Her and her father mended their relationship, and now to this day, they're very close. When investigators asked Veronica why did she do this? What is the reason? It's even more pathetic than you'd imagine.
The Lord told her.
No. She was dating a man who broke up with her, and to get him back, she claimed she was pregnant with his baby, but she hadn't seen him in months. She needed a newborn baby because she was going to see him right after the birth, like in a couple weeks. So she wanted to steal Teka's baby and kill Teka and then claim the baby was hers to get this man back.
You know?
That's fucking sick.
That is fucking sick.
And pathetic.
Yeah, you can think of a lot of words for that. But even if you were trying to figure out a way to get a baby because you wanted to show someone this, wouldn't it be easier to just take a baby, like try to take a baby and run, as opposed to cutting one out of someone? Like, I'm not a professional baby stealer. I don't even like babies. They're sticky. Get away from me. They make a lot of noise. But that's the worst plan I ever heard to even commit a crime.
Well, she's clearly nuts. I mean, you're not sane if you're going to do something like this.
That's true.
She's clearly not. So anyway, that was her reason for wanting to steal Teka's baby. And poor Teka is just innocent, like just totally innocent, totally unsuspecting, and caught in this situation. But this just shows, like, this story just shows how resilient someone can be. And I can't even fathom. I honestly can't even fathom.
How did she find Teka?
I don't know. I don't know how she found her.
Like, how'd she get her phone number?
I don't know.
Wait, there was internet in 2009, so maybe through there.
Maybe.
But how'd she find out she was pregnant? How'd she find out?
I don't know.
We gotta find out.
I don't even think that it's spoken about how she found her. I mean, maybe I have to look deeper, but I didn't see anything about that. And Teka doesn't talk about it.
What the hell? She looked through the yellow pages?
I don't know. She was in a shelter at the time, so.
Well, you see, maybe she could have saw her pregnant at a shelter, asked who's that or something.
Yeah, like gotten information from people. So that is the amazing survival of Teka Adams, which is still probably in the top 2 of the craziest survival stories I've ever told, because that's insane. And when you watch her too, like, she's so cute and funny, and there's a couple parts in the I Survived episode where she's actually a funny girl, because she talks about, I don't know how she can like make light of the situation, but she talks about when she's being tortured, like laying on the ground, when she was like cutting her stomach open. Stephanie, or Veronica, aka Stephanie, put Michael Jackson on the TV really loud and turned it up as loud as possible. And Teka says in the interview, she's like, it was torturous, not only because I'm being tortured, but also because I have to listen to Michael Jackson on repeat, and I don't even like Michael Jackson's music, so I'm being double tortured. And she kind of like made a joke of it.
She must be a Prince fan.
Which is really funny. which was really funny to me that she could even make a joke of that. But she's really cute and sweet. And her and PJ are still together and married. They have 2 kids.
Oh, shit.
And they are happy. And she's back with her family. And her father have a good relationship. So it like all turned out well in the end.
That's dope. And if Teka ever listens, the world is small now. We've had survivors and all kind of people contact us, which is weird.
Yeah. I didn't tell this on the regular thing, but we had Sonny Jacob's daughter contact us, which is crazy.
And she said she was going to tell her mom to listen, which is crazy.
She did.
But my only advice to Teka was, where I was going with this, is listen to PJ.
Yeah.
He has good instincts.
Yeah, he does.
PJ,
He tried to warn her.
He tried to warn her. He didn't necessarily know, but we know that no one's just trying to help you for no reason.
Yeah. Well, it all turned out
I'm glad you're all right.
Okay.
And Miracle is only about 13 years old now, which is crazy. So a lot of times, like, I picture these stories in black and white, like things are happening. I change the channel, adjust the dial. It was fuzzy. And
but this was recent.
This was like not that long. So Stephanie's in jail. Mm-hmm. And good.
Yeah. Well, she's only going to be in jail for 25 years, which I think she deserves longer, to be honest.
Was she young?
I think she was in her 40s, like late 30s, 40s.
She was of childbearing age because she said she was pregnant.
Yeah.
So she wasn't that old.
Yeah, exactly. So.
But old women have babies now. They got all these drugs.
It's pretty sick, though. Like, she's going to get out of jail when she's like in her 60s. Like, she's not even going to be that old.
Yeah, but her life is going to be shit because...
I hope so.
You don't get any money. You didn't work to put anything towards your Social Security. I don't really know how Social Security works, really, though. But you have to, like, contribute to it, I think, to get some. And
well, I hope her life is shit.
Yeah, me too.
Wow. Isn't that story crazy?
Yeah.
Thank God for the guy who ran down and said he was going to call the cops. Because if it wasn't for him, she would have gotten taken back in that house and she'd be dead and her baby would be taken by a psychopath. So thank God that man ran downstairs.
I wonder if she ever spoke to that guy again.
I don't know. I wonder.
What's crazy is about this whole thing, though, to me is I predicted this whole case the whole way through down to the child's name.
You did, yeah.
I said she's going to try. It sounds like she's trying to steal the baby.
You did, yeah.
And down to the baby's name was Miracle.
You did.
So what I would like to say is hashtag put some respect on my name.
And what's your name?
Russ the Profiler. AKA my enemies are coming for me. Send me your money and I'll take pictures. I'll take selfies on the private jet for you. Hey, I don't really want your money. Someone listens to this 10 years from now. That's from the Tinder swindle.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you for tuning back into another episode of Wife of Crime. Catch us on Instagram at Wife of Crime Pod and Facebook, Wife of Crime, the Crime Family, and Patreon, Wife of Crime Pod.
And if you want some cool ass merch like cups, shirts, hoodies that say Wife of Crime and other stuff on it, and you could like just wear the same clothes I wear every day like me, go to wifeofcrime.com and we got some merch and stuff.
Yeah, we have it in our shop. And yeah, we'll catch you guys next time. Have a wonderful week.
Peace.
Bye.